Well, how's everybody doing out there this evening? This is Tony Ray Harvey, and this is another episode of On the Cutting Room Floor, presented by Publicity Agent. Once again, I'm the host, Tony Harvey, and actually, I have some good news tonight. If for the ones who already saw the game, the Sacramento Kings won on the road. 117-110 victory over the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta, Georgia, at the State Farm Arena Center, whatever they call that. But Kings pulled it out. And they had 72 hours to think about that terrible loss the other day in the Northwest in Portland, Oregon, to the Portland Trailblazers, which was really. I'm not really going to go back there, but I probably mentioned it a couple of times, but they get it. They get it. I know it's only one game, but they get it. Okay? And what I am talking about is the defense. The defense. Now, that first quarter started off crazy. All right? The Hawks got up 31-8, 23 points. Okay? And of course, Mike Brown, he rolled out Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, and of course that MVP, De'Aaron Fox. But this is where I'm getting to, okay? Because the coach knew what the deal was, and he had to change it up, and he had to change it up real quick because things was about to unravel, all right? Towards the end of that first quarter, and we have a lot to talk about here, okay? Towards the end of that first quarter, our man, Mike Brown, had seen enough. So what does he do? He puts in Alex Len, Trey Lyles, and Chris Duarte. All right? Specifically for defense. Okay? And that's where things started to get a little bit better. Oh, a lot better. Okay? I'm going to get to Davion Mitchell, too, later on, because he was a hero in this game, too. All right? Because he had to guard Trey Young. And Chris Duarte, he did some heroic things, too, with it. One of them, was really critical for a call late in the game. Okay? But that's what it's going to take to win these games. Defense. Now, De'Aaron and Domantas been getting some national attention. He was on NBA TV, as you know, it's headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, and they talked about, what were they doing, after that game? What was practice like? Okay, and I know Kyle Draper, he had spoke about it too. Him and Kevin Gleason on the radio show earlier for the last 2 days. Okay, that's all they talked about. The team that was the Kings defense. Okay. And De'Aaron, went in with these guys, the host on NBA TV. Nice segment, beautiful segment. I'm glad they're getting that type of recognition and stuff about guard your man. Okay, I know the thing has been preached since the season started about verticality, physicality, playing together. Okay, and of course, defending. Okay, and they've been doing this as a team concept. They have these certain schemes, but I'm gonna tell you about this game right here because what De'Aaron said something significant when he was talking to these fellows on NBA TV. Okay, there was a lot of one-on-one stuff going on. Okay, this is probably one of the best individual outputs that I have seen this team perform as a defense, individually. Okay, I see some great individual plays across the board. Okay, at least after, they regained, gathered themselves, regained themselves to, come back, take the lead early. When did they take the lead? I'm pretty sure they took the lead early in the fourth quarter. Okay, and a lot of that was a lot of, defense. So once they do that, this was the individual part of it. Okay, you're going to win a lot of ball games. Okay, because you can't have these type of setbacks where you just running up and down the court, doing that Kentucky Derby stuff, and these other teams say, "Hey, we can do that stuff too," and you're not playing any defense. You're not doing anything to stop you. Okay, because Trey Young did score 24 points, but he was handled. I think he was like 7 for 20 from the field. Okay, DeJounte Murray had a great first half. Okay, so they must have talked about him, the Kings that is. They must have talked about him at halftime, and they clamped down on him. I think he only finished with 18 points when I think he probably had 14 or 16 points in the first half. Okay, they paid a lot more attention to him, and they knew they had to stop them guards, if they was going to win this game. And yeah, like I said, it's just some great all-around individual performances that I saw. And on top of that, the bench, Sacramento Kings bench, I think they only scored 19 points total in that last game in Portland, where they came up with 43. And behind that, Trey Lyles, he had 19 points coming off the bench, and Malik, he bounced back and he had 15 points and 8 assists coming off the bench. That was a big help, okay, because compared to what Sabonis and Fox was doing in the last game, one scoring 43 points, De'Aaron Fox, the other one scored 34 points, Sabonis, and plus, he had 12 rebounds, 5 assists. That they can't do it all by themselves. They know they need their teammates, and they talk about this all the time. When they play together, they win together, and that's exactly what happened tonight, because it definitely was about to rival. But I'm gonna give credit to Mike Brown, for making the adjustments and and getting into them about what they can do as far as defense, because I know this, from what he's been training them, what he's been teaching them, as far as that defense, when they do play, these certain styles and stuff, with the deflections, and going vertical and getting up in their opponent's chest and stuff. It's been working. Stick with that, and you will win games. Okay. Before I go all into what the game was, a couple seasons ago, I think it was still the COVID era, probably around the time that they started letting spectators back into the game towards the end of the season, something like that. And of course, the Kings had another losing season, and I do remember, okay, General Manager Monty McNair came out after the end of the season. He was talking to us in the media, and it was like, this defense is going to get better. He even said it. I'm pretty disappointed the way the season ended and stuff, and the way they were playing, but this defense is going to get better. Okay, Mike Brown was hired specifically, amongst everything. Okay, with the 16-year drought, no playoffs and stuff, is to come in and institute a system of defense. Okay, yes, they had the highest scoring offense in the league last season, and that's great, and that's dandy. Okay, we love that. Okay, but when you get to the playoffs, things change up. Okay, you're seeing these teams, back to back, in a 7-game series. Okay, all right, 2 there, 2 home, 1 there, 1. You know how this go. Okay, so everybody knows what everybody's doing, but you don't win those games without defense. Okay, that must be understood, because that was one of the key factors that Monty McNair was working on. Okay, and I'm pretty sure he had to convey that same message to the owner, Vivek Ranadive. Okay, just as long, as Ranadive just stay on the sidelines, don't meddle, let me do this, let me handle this. We know what's the problem here. Let's do this. Eventually we're going to get somebody in here, and they're going to do it. I know, Luke Walton poured his heart out. I have to give him that. He tried. Okay, it didn't work. Okay, Monty gave him a lot more time than he probably should. Okay, then he had the 11-17 start, and boom, he was out of there a couple seasons ago. But defense is going to do this whole it's going to, seal up everything. All right. Davion Mitchell, I think he took a charge. Okay. Matter of fact, I think he took a couple charges, but he was all up in Trey Young, because Trey Young looked like he was trying to get off at this time, but that never happened. He got 24 points, but let me tell you, he had to work to get those 24 points. All right. And then there was a play in the fourth quarter, towards the end, that Chris Duarte would guard Trey Young. Well, as he was cutting to the basket, as Trey Young was cutting to the basket, he pulled Chris Duarte's arm back. Chris Duarte was called for a foul. All right. Of course, when the staff, Mike Brown and the staff, see that, on the replay of the big screen above, oh, no. Trey was pulling his hand back. Okay. So they called for a challenge. All right. And his staff hasn't really been doing really also well, on challenge these calls, the past few weeks, but this one was perfect. Perfect. Because that call was overturned. Trey Young was assessed an offensive foul. Okay. But I credit that for Chris Duarte, the Dominican, for that defensive play. Okay. All right. Because only reason why Trey did that, because Chris is trying to, get positioned to stay in front of him. That's the whole key, because he started running to the basket and stuff. And it was clearly an offensive foul. So that was just one of the key things that happened. You see these things on defense. I've seen Malik get a block, that was critical at one point of the game. Okay. Just these individual performances, just kind of like broke it down. Now, we're getting to it all, basically, and stuff. I go through this. De'Aaron Fox, Mr. MVP. Yes, 31 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals. Okay, 4 steals. He was 8 of 16 from three-point territory. 8 of 16, so he set another record. It was 7 in the last game in that loss in Portland. Okay, I think it was 7 for 15 from behind the arc. And now he was 8 for 16 beyond the arc in this game. So he set another personal record. So in his last 2 games, I believe he done made 15 out of 31 attempts in three-point territory. Okay. De'Aaron is ranked number 9 in three-point goals made in the league at 3.4, something like that. Okay. He's ranked 9th. Okay. He's shooting 39% right now. Just a couple of weeks ago, he was shooting like 37%, and we knew that was going to ascend. Okay. So he's getting around that, he's basically a 40% shooter right now. And when I talk about that, and you've seen the game, he's doing it with ease now. He has so much confidence. I mean, assistant coach Luke Laus, Mr. Honeymoon Man, third honeymoon man, excuse me, Mrs. Fox. I'm not trying to be funny or anything like that, but I'm going to call him Honeymoon Man because he's everywhere with him, helping him out, shooting on. Of course, she is too, okay? All right? Got this man on fire. He has got Fox on fire, okay? I'm watching him just, how he just, remember what he said last season? I can get my shots anywhere I want, anytime I want. And that's exactly what he was doing tonight with those threes. That is nice, okay? 30.2 games is 30.2 points per game this season. No. I think he's in number 5, the 5th spot as far as one of the leading scorers in the association, National Basketball Association. So yes, Domantas, 25 point, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. Okay, he was 12 of 17 from the field. Pure Domantas Sabonis. Okay, and I know, it's been a lot of talk about, who got the best out the trade between him and Tyrese Halliburton, who's now in Indiana playing for the Pacers, Indianapolis. Hey, nothing happens without this guy, at least for the Kings. All right. I mean, he bring his hard hat and his lunch pail to every game, every game. Okay, he's doing really excellent though. So yeah, Trey Lyles had 19 points, 16 rebound. 19.6 rebounds. Malik 15 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists off the bench. Okay, so his playmaking abilities really came into play for this game. I think he made a couple threes, but which was nice too. But he had 1 steal and 1 block. So he didn't have a good game shooting wise, but he did what he was needed to do on defense. And I am talking about the second-year man, Keegan Murray, who I call the Hawkeye of the gold and black, because that's the University of Iowa colors and stuff. 5 points. I think he had 5 points in the last game against, but he had 3 steals. And there were times when he switched off on Trey, and he wouldn't let Trey get his shot off a couple times too. Trey had to think, whoa, got a 6'8" long arm cat. Let me think this over and stuff like that. So I have to give him credit on that end. His shot, it'll come back. It'll start falling. Okay. The thing about Keegan Murray right now, what everybody knows, he's working hard on defense, and sometimes it affects his game on offense, but that is nothing to really worry about. And Davion Mitchell, I know you haven't. You've been seeing garbage times. You've been seeing DNPs, but you have been a professional. You have been a professional through it all, and you were ready when you were called upon. Because when it gets right down to it, Mike Brown, you got to put these guys in here to play defense, and you have to at least have one defensive player on the floor. That's why I like what you did strategic-wise in this game. Probably ain't slept 72 hours, oh boy, you got rattled in that last game too, okay? Because you've been working with these players about this defense and stuff, and they still, they're offensive players, they like that, but you can't turn your offense into defense all the time. So, hey, okay. Well, yeah, Trey Young, 24 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 steals. I think he's one of the top leaders in steals in the association as well. I just like the way they defended him, because he could have easily went off at any time. They're not really doing too well at the State Farm Arena Center or whatever they call it. I think they're like 4-6 at home or something like that. But they're 8-10 on the road. I'm talking about the Atlanta Hawks, so I don't know what's going on there. So, they fall to 12-19. There has been talk about, moving some of their personnel around. Once again, Kyle Draper and Kevin Gleason was talking about that on the radio show. Kyle is really big on this guy. I am too, because he's definitely a two-way player. He really excellent on the defensive end too. He had a hot first half. Okay, he was the one really doing the damage for him and helped them build up that 23-point lead in that first quarter. Okay, I think he had like 10 points in the first quarter alone. I have to go back and check on it, but that was him. Okay, hit a couple threes and hit a couple more threes, in the second quarter. Okay, but as the King was, to making that run, Bogdanovich, Bogey, he only had 12 points. He's averaging about 17.9 points a game, and he is considered as one of the candidates for a 6th man of the year. Well, he was best tonight by super reserve Malik Monk, okay? Because Malik got those 15 points, and then you got them 8 assists. You out there playmaking, you making some things happen. And what I like about that too, when Mike have him and Fox out on the floor, you got to pick your poison. You can't stop both of them. You just cannot stop both of them. And they made that clear tonight in that fourth quarter. So I really like what they were doing. Sadiq Bey, who his time in Detroit, he's been really doing well against the Sacramento Kings. He was averaging like 20 points, 5 rebounds in the last 5 games against the Sacramento Kings. But majority of that was when he was in a Detroit Piston uniform. And, trust me, I know he don't want to be in Detroit right now. though the Atlanta Houses, having their little bit of issues too. So they held. He had 15 points, so that was good. They held him down too because he can he pretty much can get hot. So that was some good work on him. So, but yeah, Sacramento Kings came back, looking good for that that stretch. Damian, hey, if I know anything, you got the DPOG, after this game. And you pretty much should have been here to light that beam. I'm glad they got that beam lit because that beam has not been lit since it's been about 10 days since that beam has been. Oh, excuse me. It's been 8 days since that beam has been lit. The last time it was lit is when they beat the Phoenix Suns here in Sacramento at Golden One Center, and that was 1 week ago to today, on the 22nd, December 22nd. So the Kings stopped a 2-game losing streak, kind of like that too. But now you got to go to the Mid-South, FedEx Arena, where you will take on Ja Morant. The Memphis Grizzlies are up to bat next. And that game will be played on December 31st. I think it's an early game too, so just beware of that game coming up. And that'll be taking place in the next 48 hours. Ja Morant, since he has returned from his 25-game suspension, Memphis won all of them, all 4 games since he's been back. Okay, the team is 10-20 in the West. Okay, but we should not be thinking about that record at all. Okay, because the Western Conference is tight. And Williams cats sitting down there at 10-20 with Ja Morant can change. Okay, they got Desmond Bain. They can do some things. So that's another thing. There's going to be another defense. It's going to be another defensive effort that Kings have to get involved with that, though. But as long as you got this win too, so we know you know that's 1-1 on a 3-game stand. They'll be back. The Kings will be back for a back-to-back on the 2nd and the 3rd. They will have to play the Charlotte Hornets, and then what's the next game? Anyway, well, they got a back-to-back. I got to get better with this, folks. Having all my notes out here in front of me and stuff like that, but I got to get better with that. But they do have a back-to-back. The first game will be the Charlotte Hornets. So if they can get this in Memphis, they have another 3-game homestand coming up, starting with a back-to-back. Start off the new year. Let's just see what happens. But I know one thing, and I will say this: Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox are all stars. They are all stars. The voting just started right now, so hopefully y'all can get in there and start supporting these cats as you have always. I'm talking about the fans, the spectators. I don't care who you are. From Spain, from Heidelberg, Germany, vote for those two because they are definitely all stars for 2024. Hey, a bounce back is a bounce back. I know the Kings started off, they missed their first 8 shots behind the arc, but then they picked it up after that. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Well, I won't really go back all into the game. I just was trying to come up with certain highlights. Once again, this is Tony Ray Harvey. You are listening to a digital commentary on the cutting room floor presented by Publicity Agents, and I am telecasting from Black Magic Ink Studios. I will be back Sunday afternoon, for that final road trip for the Sacramento Kings. And hopefully they will pick up another win to end their third 3-game road trip. And there will be 19 and 12 to end out the 2023 year. I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. Yes, yeah, it's something that I've been thinking about, for a while to, get into this podcast. Well, not really podcasting, just offering, some commentary on the game. But I can't always do this. I have to cover a lot of politics at state capital, California state capitals, starting January 3rd. So wherever I can fit in, I'll try to provide, my perspective on the Kings season. And hey, it's a beautiful win. It's definitely a beautiful win when you come back from 23 points down and win the game after losing to a team that's 8-21 3 days before. Okay? But as I sign off, okay, play defense. Okay? Play defense. And the coach, you gotta stay on them. We already know that offense is straight. Stay on them, Mike Brown and staff. Stay on them. Okay? So I'm going to end it with one of my legendary favorite journalists, Edward Murrow. Good night and good luck. Peace.